Picture Keith Ferrazzi, a young man from a blue-collar family, stepping into a packed Yale dining hall. His eyes scan the room, not for the food, but for the right people, the connections that'll change his life. But there's a catch: everyone's eating, alone. Keith knows this solitude is a trap. What if the key to success isn't just what you know, but who you know and how you feed those relationships? Stick around to see how one simple shift, never eating alone, unlocked a network stretching from Yale's halls to Hollywood's A-list. Keith's story starts with a radical idea. Real networking looks nothing like a business card swap. It's about giving first, with zero strings attached. Sounds simple, until you realize how rare genuine generosity feels in the wild jungle of ambition. At Yale, Keith offered his tutoring skills to a struggling classmate, not asking for anything back. The payoff? That friend introduced him to a professor who became Keith's tutor and mentor, paving a pathway to a Harvard MBA. This wasn't luck. It was a deliberate choice to give first, planting seeds that would sprout into career-changing support. Think of generosity like saving money in a relational bank account. Every helpful act deposits trust and goodwill. Over time, this interest accrues until when you need support, withdrawals are easy and welcome. Keith's network thrived because he constantly added value, never expecting immediate returns, making relationships rich before they ever needed to be spent. Most people see networking as a scoreboard, points to get, favors to collect. Keith rewrote the rules. It's a dance of mutual benefit, not a transaction ledger. This switch from taker to giver turns cold contacts into warm alliances, transforming the tired idea of networking into genuine friendship, and that's the secret sauce of long-term success. If you wait till you need someone, you've already lost the front game. Keith's networking hack: keep the conversation pinging even when there's no agenda. But what does pinging feel like outside your phone notifications? Keith shares how he once sent a quick note to a former colleague. No business, just a friendly ping about a book they both liked. Months later, when Keith needed an introduction to a top executive, that small message was the warm-up, not the cold call. The relationship was primed and ready thanks to consistent touchpoints. Imagine relationships as a complex machine exposed to storms. Pinging is your daily oiling. It keeps rust from setting in. Without regular maintenance, gears seize. Keith calls it relationship weathering, the small, consistent efforts that prevent the decay of connections and keep opportunities turning smoothly, even when you're not actively working them. In any room, the invisible risk is being overlooked, literally unseen. Keith's mantra, "never eat alone," is a metaphor for making yourself visible, pinging frequently to stay on people's radar. This constant contact ensures you're remembered when it counts, turning invisibility, a fate worse than failure, into presence and influence. Lunch isn't just sustenance for your body, it's fuel for your network. Keith argues that who you share your meals with shapes your destiny, but skipping a lunch alone isn't just about company, it's tactical mastery. Keith recalls a conference in D.C. where he spotted a nervous junior executive eating solo. He invited her to join his table, opening a conversation that led to a joint project a year later, one that boosted both their careers. That single meal wasn't just food, it was an investment in a future collaboration. Status signals, Keith explains, are loudest around shared tables: who sits where, who invites whom, who splits the check. These cues are invisible scripts that shape relationships. Dining is the social operating system of business. If you want in, you join the meal. If you exclude yourself, you exclude your future. By consistently sharing meals, Keith transformed cold professional contacts into trusted allies. The payoff? Invitations to projects, insider intel, even friendships with CEOs. It's the surprising power of simply saying, "Sit with me." That's how invisibility turns into influence, one bite at a time. Not all contacts are created equal. Keith's Rolodex isn't just huge, it's strategic. The secret? Spotting and nurturing connectors, those rare people who link worlds together. But identifying them takes more than just adding names. Keith tells how a Hollywood producer introduced him to a political strategist who otherwise would have been off-limits. This producer wasn't a CEO or a VIP, but was the vital connector between Hollywood and Washington. Keith's relationship with that producer unlocked doors he hadn't even been aware existed, because connectors hold maps invisible to others. Think of social networks like islands. Most people live on their island, but connectors are bridges. While leaders command a single island, connectors span many. Keith's advice: don't aim just for titles, spot who naturally introduces, links, and relates to diverse groups. These are the hubs powering influence. Instead of draining connectors by asking for favors, Keith advocates helping them connect with others, becoming the oil in the bridge's gears. This generosity makes connectors eager to reciprocate, expanding your reach exponentially without ever appearing pushy. It's networking on steroids. You don't just show up, you show up as someone unforgettable. Keith realized early that your reputation precedes you, and how you brand yourself in every interaction shapes your network's power. But how do you craft a brand without sounding fake? Early in his career, Keith made it a point to show up as genuinely curious and generous, not slick or rehearsed. At one Seattle tech meetup, he shared a personal story about overcoming imposter syndrome that resonated with a roomful of professionals. The genuine vibe stuck, leading to invitations that escalated his influence organically. Keith compares brand building to working out a muscle. Each act of consistent value, sharing insights, introducing contacts, following up, strengthens your reputation. The muscle memory makes others trust, remember, and ultimately seek you out. It's slow, deliberate, and impossibly effective. Facts and titles are forgettable. Stories are sticky. Keith advises you package your brand around stories that show your values, struggles, and wins. This storytelling approach makes you human and magnetic, turning cold contacts into passionate advocates who sing your praises without being asked. Remember Keith in that Yale dining hall, spotting lonely tables, choosing connection over isolation? He knew invisibility is the enemy, that real success is built on deliberate, generous relationships. Now, think about your next meal. Who are you inviting? Your next message, who gets pinged? Start small. Reach out today to one person without an ask. Plant that seed of generosity. Because if you never eat alone, you never network alone, and that simple idea can change everything. Try it next lunch, don't sit alone. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.